We're going to very quickly give you a chance to ask any speaker any question you want to. And I want to ask you if you would, if you have one, to stand up and address the speaker, okay?
Okay, time for Q&A.
Go ahead, honey.
Well, let's get it on the question on mic. We're videotaping here, and we need to hear what your question is.
I want to know, knowing the nature of human beings and also knowing the nature of this plane of existence, has there ever been anything but corrupt, evil, and greedy government?
Is there ever, or has there ever? What's the question? There has been briefly, honey, but only a little while. About a generation and a half with Joshua, about the same thing for America. Josiah was there briefly.
Why do we expect anything different?
Well, the same reason they did. They changed it. Same way Jehoiada did. Jehoiada said, took Joash and put him back on the throne. And had the queen put to death and reinstated righteous government for a while. That's what we're here for.
You know, being a musician, I can only relate to lyrics of songs. Now, some of you may recall a song about 15 years ago that Billy Joel did. It was called We Didn't Start the Fire. That was a great song. And he was right. We didn't start the fire. But it's our job to at least try to put the fire out. And that's the whole point. The constant battle between good and evil is a test for our mortal existence. God gives us a short period of time on this planet. And yes, corruption will always be there. That's the point. That's the point. We have to choose what side of the line we're going to stand on. That's the test. Whether or not we win the battle, that's not the point. It's the fight. Okay? It's not the destination. It's how you make your way towards it.
All it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing.
Bingo.
Anybody else want to answer the question?
Question. Raise your hand. Here you go.
I'm from Ohio, and I think Governor Taft there, he wants to sell the Ohio Turnpike to some foreign nation. This can't be a good thing.
No, it's not. I-69 is going to go through Ohio. How many's ever heard of I-69? Yeah. From Mexico to Canada. Okay?
The NAFTA highway.
NAFTA highway. It's for real. It's coming. Any more questions?
Raise your hands. You got a question?
Just a comment to supplement that last thing. We live in Indiana. They didn't have enough money for the I-69 corridor there, so they leased the toll road for 75 years to get the money to build our part of the NAFTA highway.
Wow.
Isn't that special?
Dave, after they trashed you on CNN that morning, what has happened as far as the floodgates opening to your website and everything from the public?
You got me right when I went, ugh. Well, like I said, when the folks from Glenn Beck invited me on, of course, I could tell, as I explained, that they were setting it up. And I thoroughly expected them to handle it the way they did. What happened afterwards, yes, we did have a flood of emails of people, from people that never heard of the Power Hour. They'd never heard of 9/11 in plain sight. They did see the thing on CNN, and like I said, I got between 150 and 200 emails, just floods of emails of all these people saying, I can't believe what a schmuck he was. And now we have a lot of new listeners to the Power Hour, and they said, they're not going to listen to Glenn Beck anymore.
Amen.
So it blew up in their face.
Amen.
Next question. Okay, sir, okay.
Nah, sir's my dad. I'd like to ask Mr. Lindsay there. I understood very clearly how you said that the U.S. petroleum purchaser at the pumps is paying for the third world's debts. But this country has trillions of dollars worth of debts to the international banking system. What collateral did they require for that? And if this country defaults on that payment, what do you see them as collecting?
I see a major catastrophe in that, let's just take, for instance, one nation. Let's just say Saudi Arabia, because that's a name that most everyone recognizes. Let's say as the American dollar continues to collapse, which it will, it's only a matter of time as to when it collapse. Not if, but when. When it collapses, can you imagine Saudi Arabia with billions of dollars of these T-bills and securities, how angry they're going to be at us? Can you imagine China, who has billions of American dollars and T-bills and securities that they're holding, and when the American dollar collapses, can you imagine the hatred that's going to be generated around the world because of this? Now, Brother Butch, if you let me, I've got to go back to one thing here. Someone asked a moment ago about the turnpike. Someone else asked about buying different things. Let's take, for instance, here's an entrepreneur in China. He sells things to the United States of America. Let's just say he sells to Walmart. And let's say he has $1 million of American dollars. And he hears Mr. Masha Harakawa of the Asian Bank say, expect a collapse of the American dollar. He sees Iran bailing out. He sees Venezuela bailing out. He sees these other countries bailing out. And he's sitting there with $1 million of money that he sold something to Walmart for, and he's an entrepreneur in China because now they can do that. And all of a sudden he says, what am I going to do with my $1 million? He contacts some real estate agent and he says, I want to buy a farm in America. Did you know that the mortgage on your house can be sold by the bank or the lending institution that you borrowed that money from, that lending institution can sell your mortgage if they need more collateral or operating money? And can you imagine them selling your mortgage to an Iranian or someone who is an Arab, or selling it to a Chinese or a Japanese, and all of a sudden the American dollar continues to collapse? Do you think they're going to have any mercy on you whatsoever when you can't pay your house payment?
No way.
Bingo.
I mean, this thing goes so much deeper. I wish I'd had another hour.
Me too.
This thing goes so much deeper, you cannot imagine what we very well could anticipate.
How many of y'all know that your birth certificates were auctioned off to the highest bidder's collateral for the national debt? How many of y'all know that they go to the Department of Commerce? Y'all know that, don't you? Your birth certificates were auctioned off to the highest bidder. Men are worth more than women. You were auctioned off to the highest bidder, the highest bank. They own you. In Nehemiah chapter 9, he said, we become servants to the king. Not only that, he owns our cattle, he owns our bodies too. Same thing in America.
You are the property of the United States government, just like so many cattle, and you've gone through the fields, you see the cattle with the tags on their ears. Guess what? We're next. We are next, okay? Okay.
Question back here.
Where's that? Okay, over here, all over on this side, okay? Go ahead, stand up.
Okay, Lindsay, you partially answered my question. That's what I was going to ask. All the foreign assets that are buying hard assets here with our money. You know, after World War II, we rebuilt Japan with our money and our technology, and now it's been turned against us. Everyone here is from all over the United States. Who owns all the big produce farms, the food producing farms, and food control? Who else? Japan. Go down through Georgia, Alabama. Foreign entities in Japan. You know, so not only do they take our money and buy our hard assets for their investment, but it's also things that is easy to control us with. Oil, food. Do you see a problem with that?
Amen.
Yes. Let me address that if I may. I mean, this is so important. A group of farmers in southeastern Colorado, northern Texas, invited me down to speak just a few weeks ago. We had 2 citywide meetings, and then we had 2 private meetings. The private meetings were with some farmers that farm thousands of acres. 40% of America's food supply comes from that part of southeastern Colorado and northern Texas. The farmers in the meetings said to me, Chaplain Williams, we followed you for the last 12 years. Everything you've said about the price of gasoline and energy prices have happened. We're inviting you down here because we want to know what will happen to diesel. We cannot farm our farms after this year if the price of diesel goes up anymore. Please go back and tell the American people to get ready. They'll have a shortage at the grocery store in a year and a half. And then the farmers said to me, we have had some real estate agents contacting us within the past year. They say we want to buy your farm. They don't say we want to bargain for it. We don't say how much you want for it. They say we just want to buy it. We've contacted them back. They won't tell us who their clients are. Please tell us. These farmers ask me, who are these clients? I said, they are Chinese. They're Arabs. They're others. They want hard assets. They don't trust the American dollar. They don't trust the T-bills anymore. They want your farm at any price. That's the reason they aren't even bargaining for it. I mean, this is going so deep until it's going to affect the food supply of America. And they're buying up the farms of southeast Colorado and northern Texas at any price. And the very thing you just said is happening right now. The dollar's collapsing, and they want to get out of dollars because they're scared to death of it.
Okay, next.
Oh, okay. Sorry, ladies first. What can I say?
Hi, Pastor Revere. I'm going to call you that because you're the modern day Paul Revere for sounding the alarm on what FEMA and Homeland Security are doing. Do they have a definite timeline or a deadline when they want to put all this in place?
Where's the microphone? Over there. Here we go.
I get the easy questions and the better answers. I don't know if you're listening down the end of the line here, but that is very important for us to realize. I always feel like I'm a small thing here, and I appreciate the name that I was given by Alex, but I didn't claim that one. There are many Reveres out here. We've got one right next to me. What was your question, so I don't get too lost on that one? Timeline, yes. Yeah, the timeline. The only date that we were given, and a lot of this, these seems like to be pieces of the puzzle here. Our local FEMA director told us that they have a deadline of August 31st to get the disaster plans in place. She said FEMA, DHS, Department of Homeland Security want disaster plans in place by August 31st. That doesn't mean it's going to happen August 31st. That simply means there's a deadline for them to look at. Now, the speculation is we're looking toward the immediate future. How are you going to deal with crowd control? That's what we're for. That's the term I didn't use the whole time I talked. It's crowd control. And so this all fits in. Can you imagine the role of pastors when it's not just a tornado or a flood or even a bioterrorist attack? It's the money's gone. The gasoline's up too high.
Going, yeah.
You know, here we are. The food's gone. They're going to come banging on doors for food pantries. So I see that as a bigger challenge. But August 31st is the county deadline nationwide. This is what we were told at the meeting to get their plan in effect. There'll still be training after that time. There's already a meeting scheduled for September, first week of September, on doing something else. So it looks like that's just the deadline for that. But they want their ducks in a row, I guess you want to call it that, by that time.
Okay, we have a lot of people out here with questions, okay? So to ask everybody, if you're going to pose your question, please pose it quickly, and we'll ask the speakers to respond as quickly as possible as well, because I want to get everybody on here. Go ahead.
Pastor Mansfield, with the way things are, if these pastors sign these papers for FEMA, is there any problem if they all of a sudden decide they're not going to follow FEMA and follow through?
Well, the cards were signed. That wasn't a declaration that they had to do it, but we don't know anything about that. Once they're trained, though, I think they're going to look at that as a good idea. I don't see too many pastors backing out after that. That's what you're asking. No.
Okay, next question.
Chaplain Williams, do you know if the national forests in America here are being collateralized and being sold to these powers that be?
I'm going to have to stick with my subject of energy. I know what I'm talking about there. The other would be speculation, so I'll have to bypass on that.
All right, let me work my way over here. I feel like Phil Donahue or something. But I don't think like him, okay?
Hi, thanks for all you're doing. I'm just about to sell a house on the Gulf Coast, and I want to know if anyone, there's still speculators that think the land is worth a lot of money, so I want to know if anyone or all of you or anybody has advice for me, practical advice about what I should do with the profits of the sale.
Melanie's a good answer on that one. Give it to her if you don't care, me, Lindsay.
I think there's only one thing that you could do with the profits, depending on the size of the profits. But really, the only safe thing, if you want to protect your purchasing power and you want to maintain what you have, the only true investment out there is gold and silver. 80% of it should go in gold, 20% in silver, and you buy it, you hold on to it. Now, there's different things you can do to invest in the different gold and silver products, but I always believed you just need to build a base, and then you can speculate a little bit. But if you want to be safe and protect what you have, gold and silver.
Yeah, but don't buy into this thing where these people sell you the gold and you get to keep the certificate and they get to keep the gold.
No.
Okay? No.
Take possession of your gold. You don't buy into these gold ETFs. You don't store it. You don't go to Monex. You take possession of it. That's the only way. The only way. Oh, you can debate confiscation. They can do anything. So what you need to do is you need to prepare against it and do the best that you can. They can do anything. But they own it. Trust me, yes. They own it. They were buying it when it was $250, and they were buying it. All these corrections, they manipulate it, they suppressed it, and they buy it. So those who own the gold are going to write the laws and the rules. So. They might confiscate some of it, but they're not going to take back what they already own, just like what they did in 33. And that's why there's always a little loophole.
Just remember Shem and his pea patch. That's your gold, you keep it.
Yeah.
Over the last several years, my family has become aware of just how enslaved we are. Like you talked about with our birth certificates, and we are the collateral. It's our lives and our land, our property. So my question to all of you is what do us ordinary people do at this point to protect our pea patch? How do we respond? And what is God's will for us to respond? Is it really to tell our neighbor and create havoc and hysteria? Or is it to come out of her and go to a biblical agrarian lifestyle and live on God's provision alone?
I'll take a shot at that, and anybody else wants to. I cannot tell each individual what they're supposed to do. That's not my job. But I know where my line in the sand was drawn 7 years ago with a digital ID picture. That's one thing that I knew I could not do. I don't know what to tell you to do, honey, with everything that's coming down. I wish I could tell you, yes, you need to warn your neighbors. Absolutely, you need to warn your neighbors. They probably won't listen to you. Am I right? Most of them will think you're nuts. But prepare yourself. The scripture tells us the wise man sees trouble coming and prepares for it. Prepare yourself personally, your family personally, storeable food, Berkey water filters, some gold and silver, guns and ammo, whatever you got to do. I'm not promising you that you're going to make it through this. But folks, we have no choice, as Dave said. Duty is ours, consequences is God's. We must do what we can do. That's all we can do. So please, and I'm going to say this and pass it on again, but don't keep second guessing yourself. In your heart, you know what you're supposed to do as best you know how. And if you make a mistake, He'll correct you. But even God can't steer a parked car. Move, okay?
All right, folks, listen, we're coming up on 9 o'clock. The time is getting short. So again, I'm asking everybody to please ask quickly. Marcia, go ahead.
Pastor Walt, was you aware that the members of ambulance services and such were being drawn into this also?
I'm sorry, who?
Of ambulance and
yes.
caretakers, because my brother-in-law has a certificate that he received for taking 11 hours of class, that he now is certified in giving spiritual, health, and other suggestion and care and advice in a time of terror attack or a time of national disaster.
And I would imagine they probably didn't ask him if he wasn't ordained or he was a Christian or licensed anything. Right, they are handing those out like anything. So we're not special. We're just being recruited because we are pastors. That's the big difference.
So Bill said,
okay.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Real quick there, Pastor Wade. Would you like to answer a question about the lady just asked about doing something or whatever? Was you going to say something?
That's all right.
All right, okay. I thought Ron was, okay.
I would just like to comment that I believe the gold and the silver is correct.
But in addition to that, we need to consider the fact that if farmers may not be planting next summer, there will be a time that will come when we can't eat the silver and gold.
That's right.
So we definitely need to have food, clothing, whatever it takes to sustain life. And the first thing we're going to be running out of in an emergency could be clean water. So keep that in mind too.
Okay.
2 more questions. Go ahead.
This whole thing looks like a hydra with many heads. And I've been dying to ask the question, is there any way to kill the beast?
One person, one head at a time.
There you go. All right. Well, there's so many hands. We got one more question here.
Okay, go ahead.
This guy's going to tackle me.
Go ahead, let him do it.
Okay, he says no. Okay.
Tell him the reply of American Airlines to Joyce when she asked about
Oh, okay. Joyce had called American Airlines in regard to making a confirmation statement on whether or not Flight 77 had hit the Pentagon, and they said that they wouldn't discuss the issue. I mean, why wouldn't they say something? I don't know. You figure it out. Okay, last question.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it, even though it come up alternatively. Don't we have a moral obligation to teach all our kids and kin that given Bush's propensity to jump into nation after nation to do them in for his New World Order, don't we have the moral duty to teach our kids and kin to say no to going into the service, to say no via conscientious objection? I mean, this, now more than ever, if they're going to stop them, we have to tell our kids and kin no, teach them no anyway. If they won't say it, it's up to them, but we should at least be teaching them.
Amen. I agree.
I don't know if that was really a question or not.
They one more.
Okay, this guy over here, he had his hand.
There's 2 back. Take the last 2 over there.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
one over here, one over here. Okay. There's so many to choose from. Oh.
Yeah, this is a question for anyone on the panel up here, but it seems as everything is culminating in 2008 with all the ID cards and with different countries. We have the dish that Butch offers to the ministry, the satellite dish, that all the shortwave, and there's also foreign news channels, and we watch a lot of the foreign stuff. And the same kind of turmoil is happening overseas as is happening here. Actually, it's worse. But they're also instituting national ID cards, and everything seems to, and also with the animal chipping, getting all these things in place by 2008. What does anybody on the panel have any predictions or understand why it's 2008? What's going to happen in 2008?
I don't know that it's 2007 in Canada, 2008 here, 2010 in China. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but China's now issuing an ID card also. We know this is a worldwide phenomenon, folks. It's not just happening here. I can't fight in China, but I got to fight here. So it's up to us, wherever you are, and everybody's asking such good questions. And I wish I could say, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do that, you need to man that gate, and I'll man this gate. I can't do that. Your Father in heaven will tell you what to do. But folks, listen, you can take one battle and fight it. You can't fight them all. I can't fight them all. Can you fight them all? But I can fight one while you fight the other one. We all fight the same war on different fronts.
You know, there's 100 times more of us than there are of them.
Yes.
All we got to do is take one with us. It'll be over in a heartbeat.
Amen.
Final question.
This is just a comment. I'm up from Orlando with my daughter, and I want to thank everybody for filling this room with wonderful, good people, men that are still masculine. They have not been feminized like they want our men to be. And our good men are the policemen of the world, and they're trying to get rid of our fighters that would defend our country. However, this room is full of real men that would defend our country, and I'm proud to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all, folks. If you want to talk some more, take your time. No hurry. We're going to turn the lights on. Y'all can visit a while, okay?